Hello and welcome to the first edition of Super Achievers for Ghoghari Next. હું છું અમી અને આજે આપણે મળશું સિદ્ધાર્થ શાહ, co-founder of Farmeasy. તો ચાલો આપણે એમને મળીએ. Thank you Siddharth for your time. This is the first edition of Super Achievers, a series of Super Achievers for Ghoghari Next, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And to start with, what an amazing journey. I mean, you've topped the list of pharmacies in India, the first e-pharmacy, and extremely successful. So, I want to share when were the seeds really sown? While growing up, or did you think it after your MBA?
See, business plan to sharu thyo as part of MBA, but I think it's important to go back into history. A lot of it is because of the upbringing. I think as Gujaratis, Ghogaris, we are all born where doing something by yourself is always looked upon very very well. And I have always admired my dad. He's the role model. He studied hard. 1986 માં જ્યારે આશીર્વાદ હોસ્પિટલ કરી તો it was the first private ICU outside of a large hospital. 99 માં એશિયન હાર્ટ કરી અને 2007 માં જુપિટર કરી. So I think I already had very very high standards to live up to. So doing something by yourself I think came because of that. And the specific project જે છે મેં આમ અમદાવાદમાં ફાઇનલ યરમાં એક કોર્સ કર્યો હતો, એક વર્કશોપ ઓન entrepreneurship under Professor Anil Gupta. As part of that, I had done a project to launch the first online pharmacy in India. And he insisted that I should incorporate a company while I was on campus. So while I was on campus, I incorporated the company and that's where the journey started.
That's amazing. That is fantastic. And when you started off, what kind of hurdles did you face in the initial phases? Was it a smooth journey to start with, or did you have setbacks when you started off?
I think setbacks to both. I don't want to romanticize the journey, but there was a lot of setbacks. પહેલા 2-3 વર્ષ અમારા માટે બહુ ટફ હતા. Tough from the perspective of acceptance of the idea in the market. અત્યારે સ્ટાર્ટઅપ્સ માટે કેપિટલ રેઝ કરવું ઈઝી છે, ત્યારે એટલું હતું નહીં. The only people believing were my family and મારા partners' family. We had a lot of opposition from people who are not very happy with the way things were going around.
Absolutely.
So I think there were 2-3 very tough years. અને અમે પણ થોડી મિસ્ટેક કરી કે we focused only on the demand without focusing on the supply. એટલે અમે ઓનલાઈન મોડલમાંથી brick and mortar stores ચાલુ કર્યા. એમાં we realized કે stores ને બધી દવા જો અવેલેબલ કરવી હોય તો બે જ રસ્તા છે, કાં તો દુકાન મોટી કરો, કેમ કે એક દુકાનમાં 2 થી 3 હજારથી વધારે દવા રહેતી નથી. માર્કેટમાં 2-3 લાખ દવા છે, તો કાં તો દુકાનની સાઇઝ મોટી કરો, એમાં ઇકોનોમી બગડી જાય, કાં તો ડિસ્ટ્રીબ્યુશન સ્ટ્રીમલાઇન કરો કે જે દવા જોઈએ 2-3 કલાકમાં મળી જાય. So only after 2 failures and 2 years and almost driving my father bankrupt, we were third time lucky and things came around well from 2014 onwards, and then we've never had an opportunity to look back.
So you mentioned your father. For audiences understanding, could you throw some light on your family background and your તમારું નાનપણ કેવું હતું અને what kind of inspiration did you draw from your parents?
So I think amara mate a couple of things. My father had only 2 clear objectives. One, to let me do what I want, but second, at all points of time, that I should continue studying very hard. My father is a cardiologist, my mother is a pediatrician, and હવે મારી wife orthodontist છે. So I am in some sense the least educated person in the family. They all studied till they were 29, 30, 31. મેં 23 વર્ષમાં ભણવાનું બંધ કરી નાખ્યું હતું. So I come from a family where I think education is given a lot of importance. Obviously because of my ba and dada, importance of society, values was again very very important. So I think that had a large effect in the way I was kind of brought up, right? Focus on values but work hard, study hard. I think some of these things were very very important. I think couple of things which I remember very distinctly is also that while my father and my mother both insisted that I bhanu, but they also let me do what I wanted. So when I was very young, I wanted to do skating. So they would take me at 5 o'clock in the morning for doing skating for 3 years in a row. સવારે 5 થી 7 skating કરાવીને ગાડીમાં જ કપડાં બદલાવીને મને સ્કૂલે છોડે, and I ended up winning at the Mumbai level and state level in skating. અને ત્યારબાદ મને ગો કાર્ટિંગનો બહુ શોખ હતો એન્ડ આઈ સ્ટાર્ટેડ ડુઈંગ દેટ પ્રોફેશનલી. And my mother would come with me to all the cities every other weekend. So she spoke to my principal, મને લીવ અપાવડાવી કે નેશનલ લેવલ પર રેસિંગ કરવા જાય છે. And she used to come with me everywhere from Goa to Kolkata to Pune, Bangalore, Chennai, Baroda, Ahmedabad, Delhi. So I think they also let me prosper in things which I liked, right? In sports, they give me a lot of freedom, right? And my mom used to take books along with me, right? ત્યાં જઈને મને ભણાવે પણ at the same time મને મારું સ્પોર્ટ્સનું પણ કરવા દે. So I think that freedom to do things, the freedom to fail, uh, pursuit of success, I think all of these things, if I have to give credit, all of it goes to my parents.
Fantastic. That's really heartening to hear. Very impressive at the same time. And Ghatkopar gang has become a popular term after Farmeasy became a popular name. How does it feel now with all the success that has come by? And starting from humble roots at the same time.
I think it's still the same, right? I don't think we've stopped wearing our Iron Man t-shirts or our slippers, so I don't think anything much has changed in our day-to-day life. I think we've all been born and brought up in Ghatkopar. We are all staying here. Luckily, we've all been friends for very long. Dharmil ne hu ekbijane I just turned 33. I think we know each other since 29 years, which is a lot. Dhaval ne hu 16-17 વર્ષથી ઓળખું છું. Hardik ne now I know for over 15-16 years. So I think we've known each other for a very long period of time. So is Harsh. So I think being from Ghatkopar, being friends feels very good. But otherwise, I think nothing much has changed in life because we still go to the same places. સેમ અચીજાની પાવભાજી ખાઈએ, સેમ ઢોસા ખાવા જઈએ, સેમ જગ્યાએ પિક્ચર જોવા જઈએ, સેમ ફ્રેન્ડ સાથે બહાર ફરવા જઈએ અને સેમ ફ્રેન્ડ સાથે કામ પર આવીએ. સો આઈ ડોન્ટ થિંક એનીથિંગ મચ હેઝ ચેન્જ્ડ ઇન આવર લાઈફ. આઈ થિંક ઇટ્સ and we are trying that success doesn't affect us in our relationships.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And talking of Farmeasy, you've acquired Ghoghari recently. Congratulations for that. What next for Farmeasy and what are the long-term plans for the company?
I think long-term plans for us is to figure out how we can become the partner to every Indian for everything in healthcare. તો અમારું માનવું છે કે કોઈ બીમાર થાય તો પહેલા એમને ઇન્ફોર્મેશન જોઈએ, પછી ડૉક્ટરની સલાહ જોઈએ, પછી એક ડાયગ્નોસ્ટિક ટેસ્ટ જોઈએ અને પછી દવા જોઈએ. અને we want to become one single partner for you to do all of these things. And as digitization happens, તમારા medical records થી લઈને કાલે તમારું insurance બધું એક જગ્યાએ થાય તો we believe that it will bring and make healthcare more accessible and affordable for everyone.
Right. And I think all eyes are on Farmeasy to make that revolution come by. The way you've turned around the entire pharmacy space. And of course, everyone is eagerly waiting for the IPO to hit the market. When is it likely to hit the market?
Well, sorry, Anna, but I can't comment. My lawyers have told me to keep my mouth shut, so at the right time.
And growing up, did you ever foresee the success that you've achieved right now? Did you really expect things to pan out as they have?
See, I think we all dream કે આવું થાય, પણ જ્યારે થાય ત્યારે જ you realize where it has come, right? So if I have to say કે we knew it that someday we'll become this big, so I don't think the answer to that is yes, right? We all had dreams, we all thought we'll become big, but I think we all have to realize that along with our hard work, there is a big role of our punya to get us where we are, and we recognize that every day and we respect that every day કે અમારી જેટલું જ કે અમારી કરતાં વધારે પણ ઘણા લોકો કામ કરતા હશે, પણ હાર્ડ વર્ક સાથે ઇન્ટેલિજન્સ, પણ એ સાથે છેલ્લે પુણ્યનો તો રોલ છે જ to get us how far we go.
That's a very noble thought. Thank you. Your wife went to see recently had a super funding round. Could you tell us more about that venture and what is it into?
So, like I said, my wife is an orthodontist. They make something called as clear aligners. So, clear aligners it's a removable plastic trays which you wear on your teeth to align your teeth. એટલે તમારે અત્યાર સુધી ખાલી દાંતને જો ઠીક કરવા હોય તો only way to do it is metalના braces. હવે બ્રેસીસની બદલે આવા રિમૂવેબલ ડિટાચેબલ પ્લાસ્ટિક ટ્રેઝ મળે જે સેમ બ્રેસીસનું કામ કરે, પણ it doesn't look ugly like braces, it doesn't pain like braces, it's removable, it's non-invasive, and in a kind you can eat everything, and obviously it looks far better.
Right.
So as an orthodontist, they have developed a mechanism to give these braces to patients at their home without any pain, and I think that is what they do, and it's become very successful.
That's actually good. What were the key lessons that you learned as your journey progressed? कोई एवा lessons which you think that really shaped your journey in some ways?
I think બે ત્રણ વસ્તુ અમારા માટે, I wouldn't say lessons from the journey, but some instances which have become like etched in our memory. I think the first thing is that ultimately everything is a function of your relationship and trust. Uh, when we started, obviously our families trusted us, and at one point of time, like we've said publicly, 95% of the family's net worth was invested in the business, and we nearly drove the family bankrupt, right? મારા પપ્પાની એટલા વર્ષોની મહેનત would have all gone down, and we would have been on the road because of some stupid mistakes that we would have done. And the learning from those mistakes was that at one point of time we had the opportunity to make 3 partners, and we tried to optimize on the value of a partnership rather than the quality of the partner, and that left us stranded halfway. And since that day we've given a lot of importance on relationships and how we're able to do it, because ultimately the people who stood by are the ones who had deep relationships with us, and that is reflected in our company's motto also, right? Our number one value is be like family. So we consider that people who work with us, our patients, our investors, our stakeholders, everything is family, right? So if there's any customer, we think if મારી માને મારી દવા દેવી would I have done this or no, right? કે हमारी बेन मारी काम करते तो करिए तो करे, right? So I think that is very important, because the only time we could have dramatically failed is when we became commercial versus thinking about it in terms of relationships. The second thing is, I think that everybody feels that the success is kind of overnight, but there is a 9-year history behind it, and there's been lots of times when we have worked insanely hard. Now somebody can call us commercial also for that, or somebody can say I'll go pagal છે, પણ to give you an example, મારા પાર્ટનર ધર્મિલની સગાઈ હતી 2.5-3 વર્ષ પહેલા. સગાઈના આગલા દિવસે there was a very important meeting. સગાઈના આગલા દિવસે એક બહુ મોટી ડીલ અમારી થવાની હતી which fell through. So he called up the counterparty in Delhi and said, sir मैं आज सुबह आ सकता हूँ, आज शाम आ सकता हूँ, कल शाम आ सकता हूँ, परसों सुबह आ सकता हूँ, परसों शाम आ सकता हूँ. तो लोग नहीं, बट अगर मुझे कल सुबह मिलना है तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है, राइट? ये 5 स्लॉट बनता है. सर कल सुबह मेरी सगाई है, मैं उसके आगे पीछे कभी भी आ सकता हूँ, राइट? और इन माई वेडिंग I got married on 14 December. The first private equity investment that we signed was on 10 December, 3 days before that. And that is when I started preparing for my Sangeet. And unfortunately or fortunately, there were some 7 or 8 counter copies of the agreement. So between my marriage and reception, જ્યારે મારી wife તૈયાર થઈ ત્યારે હું બેસીને agreement sign કરતો હતો. So people have not seen the hard work that has gone behind this, the kind of sleepless nights that we put, or when there have been people who come to beat us up, જ્યારે અમારા પેરેન્ટ્સને ધમકી આપી છે, કે અમારી પાસે લોકોને ગુંડાઓને મોકલા છે. I think a lot of times everybody knows about the good part, right? But I think very few people know about the bad parts, or very few people talk about the bad parts. But it's very important to remember that we've been through those times, right? And I think that is what makes this even more happier, rather than being in the air, just cherish je che sari rite, right? So I would say be like family, the ability to be courageous and work hard, not being afraid of failure. I think these are some of the things that we've learned very, very strongly, and to remind ourselves every day, right? We put up a board with our values, right? So that everybody remembers this every day when they walk into the office, okay, this is what we stand for. Who do you draw inspiration from in the business world? તમારા mentors કોણ છે? I would say there are 3 or 4 people that I look up to. Ek is obviously Mr. Nimesh Kampani. I don't think without him I would be what I am. He trusted me again when I was a nobody. Has helped me personally, professionally, financially, and he wishes good for me, not just personally but also professionally. and also religiously and spiritually, right? So he's someone who I absolutely look up to because he's done outstanding work, generated great wealth, but also been true to his spiritual and religious roots, right? I mean, I wish someday I get the courage like him कि वो दररोज चौव्यार करे इसको, right? A person like him आज पण दररोज चौव्यार करे is unbelievable, right? So I think people like us can make all the excuses in the world कि हमें busy છે, हमें આ છે, हमें તે છે, but people like him I think have done an outstanding job. Um, I also have another professor, Kedar Mankekar, who's also a big investor. He's helped me thoroughly professionally and personally, who I consider like my mentor. Uh, and obviously, हमारा बीजा एक भी board member છે, अंकुर थड़ानी કરીને એક છે, who's very young, just 37, but I consider him like an elder brother and a board member, and very very close. Helps me think out of the box. હજી એક વિશાલ ગુપ્તા કરીને છે, again our first venture capital investor from Bessemer, done an outstanding job. And most recently, obviously, Mr. Aditya Puri, who's now joined our board, who's a fantastic mentor and created more wealth professionally in one organization than anybody else ever in the world, right? So I would say I'm quite blessed. क्या पता है, and needless to say, I'm surrounded by my co-founders who are, I wouldn't even say as smart, but smarter than me. So it's so much fun working with people who are as smart or smarter than you, who are friends, and who can mentor you.
Great. And since you mentioned Mr. Puri, how was it roping Mr. Puri? Can you tell us about that experience?
So last one, the credit of getting Mr. Puri must go to Ankur Thadani. He's the one who actually did the tough job of at least getting Mr. Puri to agree to meet me, right? I mean, otherwise, who are we to even go and meet him, right? I'm sure अगर હું HDFC बैंक में जैसे बात करीस तो maybe Puri साथी 3 level नीचे file अटकी जैसे, right? I mean, it won't even reach someone like him. But Ankur knew him through somebody. He pitched to him, met him a couple of times, and then got us a meeting with Puri sir. And Puri sir was kind enough that instead of the 1 hour meeting, he agreed to give us 3 hours and heard us out very patiently. And as you all know, he's a very quick and very sharp decision taker. So I think at the end of the meeting, he decided that he's happy to get associated with us and mentor us and come on board as a guide. But I think as he spent more and more and more time, he got convinced that he can join the board of directors of our company and mentor us.
And in all this, since childhood to now, what is that one mantra that you've stuck by and that has really helped you in life? Or any one principle?
I think the most important thing is you have to be passionate and perseverant. At least for me, everything that I have done is something that I have truly loved and believed in, right? Not because it would get you X success or Y success or Y result, right? I mean, if I speak of cars, I still remember જ્યારે નાનો હતો ત્યારે every week એવું હતું કે જો કંઈક સારું કામ કરો તો મમ્મીએ એક gift આપશે. And that gift for 10 years in a row was every week જઈને એક Hot Wheels લેવાની, right? So even today my love for cars is there. Likewise, હું જે અત્યારે કામ કરી રહ્યો છું is the same project જે મેં 2011 ને 12 માં કર્યો હતો. It was a project that I loved and I believed in. It wasn't workshop ma, I didn't have to take a job because of it. It wasn't something that I had to submit, right? My professor said, you do something that you love and create a company out of it. So I believe that what you have to do is something you have to love, right? So I have the work that I'm doing today. It's the only thing which I have done in the last 10 years. બીજું કાંઈ નથી કર્યું. ના left જેવું છે, ના right જેવું છે, મને બીજું કાંઈ નથી આવડતું. I know only this one thing. Or before that, when I was doing, or at least when I was racing, that is one thing which I loved. So I think that passion has to be there in what you do, right? If you are ultimately chasing it for a commercial reason, I think it may not happen. For some people it happens, but you really have to love what you do, right? And be able to, so કે અડધી રાત્રે પણ જાગીને કરવા માટે રેડી હોવો જોઈએ કે લગન ને રિસેપ્શન વચ્ચે પણ you should be ready to be able to do that work, right? I think that is the kind of love you need to have for what you do.
Correct. And you mentioned that your father was invested heavily in this venture. What was his first reaction when you pitched him the idea?
See, I think there are two parts. I think as a father, he told me that atla rupiya apis, which I think even if I would have gone to him with a stupid idea, he would have given me. as a responsibility towards the son, I think he would have given me. But I think he believed in what I was doing. And which is why એમને પહેલા મને કીધું હું તને X રૂપિયા આપીશ. છેલ્લે જ્યારે થયું ત્યારે he had given me X into 10 બધું મોર્ગેજ કરીને પણ. I don't think he's a risk taker, but I don't think that any father would take such a risk if he would not believe in what he was doing. I only keep questioning કે કાલે ઉઠીને મારું નેક્સ્ટ જનરેશન આવે જો ઈ મને આટલું માંગે કે મારી વેલ્થનું 90% આપી દો, I don't think maybe I will give that, even if I fully believe in it, right? But I think lot of times credit doesn't go to my father. I mean, he's the invisible co-founder that never gets spoken about, but as a son, અમે તો મારું તો કામ છે, right? As a young person, કે મને આપો આપો આપો. It was his job to say કે this is it, right? But I think he literally opened the floodgates and said, no, it's okay, fine, right? Go ahead, I believe in you.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. Um, if you, what is a message you would give to the budding entrepreneurs of Ghoghari community, Ghoghari community per se? What is the one message, or what are the key takeaways you would like to give them?
I think as a Ghoghari, being an entrepreneur runs in our blood, right? I think entrepreneur is a very fancy word for dhando at the end of the day, right? It runs in our blood. I think ધંધો કરવો, નવી ideas લાવી is something which is there all around us. A lot of times maybe we are not confident कि we don't find the support system to help us do that. મેં જ્યારે ચાલુ કર્યું ત્યારે 2011માં doing a startup or being an entrepreneur wasn't considered sexy. Today it is that, right? I mean, ET na front page पर you read about startups, right? I mean, it's come from page 6 to the front page. That is where it is. આજે જો કોઈ સારી આઈડિયા હોય તો there are so many people who are willing to even give you money. પહેલા એવું હતું કે આઈડિયા પણ લાવો, મની પણ લાવો, નેટવર્ક પણ લાવો. હવે જો આઈડિયા સારી હોય તો મની, નેટવર્ક, રિસોર્સિસ, all of that is available, right? So I think there is no better time than today to become an entrepreneur in India.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.